Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Please subscribe and share with your friends. If you have yet not subscribed to our channel, you will get to know a lot about clinical research, how to get a job, how to learn about clinical research on this platform. We have started this initiative to provide a full free training on ICH GCP. There is a chapter 1, this is a chapter 2, and there will be few more. So you can revisit these even if you have taken some course at some institute. So let's start. In today's session we will be talking about the responsible investigator and IRB. In chapter 1 we already have covered principles of ICH GCP, what is how ICH GCP was founded, and responsibility of sponsor in detail. Looking at investigator, this person is very important when we are looking at the trial from a site perspective or a hospital. As I told you in the last session, which is the sponsor's responsibility, that sponsor is the head, but investigator is the in charge of the site. How particular trial will be conducted at site, how things are happening at site are overseen by investigator. The very first principle is that investigator should be qualified by education, training and experience, so that he is ready to take up his responsibility. Just see, this is related to GCP principle. One of GCP principles says that all the staff should be qualified by education, training and experience. Another thing is that he should be in compliance with the GCP principle. That's one. This is one thing. Yes, he should be complying, obliged to GCP. And addition to that, applicable regulatory requirement. What does this mean, applicable regulatory requirement? This means if the trial is happening in India, they have to follow DCGI guideline. If it is happening in US, they have to follow the FDA guideline. And he should be knowing that how to use the investigational medicinal product. He should be familiar with it, what are its side effects, how to store it, how to handle it. Additionally, you know that at a site to check that if the trial is happening correctly, then monitoring and auditing happen. He should permit monitoring and auditing. So when CRA come and ask for a time, he should not be saying that I do not have a time, or should not be saying that monitor is there, that oh, I am not available. So he should permit, he should allow the monitoring and auditing. Also maintain the list of all the qualified person who are taking the responsibilities in trial. Now in a trial there can be number of staff, like nurse can be there, phlebotomist can be there, pharmacist can be there. So all that list is maintained by investigator only. Investigator should demonstrate that he has a potential to recruit the participants. So now in particular trial you need participants. So he should demonstrate the capability, like okay, if the patient for diabetic patient are required 200, 300, he has a potential. His clinic or hospital is has a potential to attract these many patients, right? That's why the sponsor mostly do the feasibility test before selecting any investigator. Should have sufficient time properly to conduct and complete the trial within agreed time. If they said that within 1 year you have to enroll 200 subjects, in nutshell, he should be able to do so. It should not be like that he is taking too long to recruit these many patients. Yes, exceptions are there. That is always being discussed with the sponsor. He should be having qualified staff and facilities. Now to conduct any clinical trial, you first of need infrastructure. Like there should be a room, storage room to store IP. There should be, emergency room. There should be a room where they can take a consent. There should be a room where they can store their documents. And additionally, they should be having a staff, maybe coordinator, maybe phlebotomist, nurse, maybe co-investigator, and list is long. There are studies where at site only they will be having over 100 of staff. I was working on one site, we were having a staff of at one site 150 people. So ensure that all trial staff is knowing about a protocol, investigational product and their duties. So nurse should be knowing her responsibilities, coordinator should be knowing their responsibility. Investigator must ensure that ethics committee approval, and they should be informing ethics committee on time to time on a safety information. If there is an assay event, right, investigator inform, it's responsibility of investigator to inform ethics committee. Investigator must submit the progress report on ethics committee. From time to time he has to submit like how the trial is going, how many subjects they have recruited, and what is the progress, are they going in the right direction, is there any hurdle. All this progress they have to keep on sharing ethics committee. If there is a new information in between when the trial is ongoing, then they have to inform the trial participants. We will learn also in informed consent form is an ongoing process. It's never a one-time process. So if there is a new information, suppose they are doing a trial on a drug and similar drug is available in the market by another company, so he has to inform all the participants. Or any new information which is impacting the safety of participants, that they have to do. Ensure number and adequate study staff. They also have to show that throughout the trial their staff is sufficient. Maybe if someone has left, the new one has to recruit it. It's not like that the site doesn't have staff and only few number of people they are handling all the responsibility. So all the staff which is working at a site should be handled by investigator. And how that new staff is selected, it's whose responsibility is this? Investigator's responsibility. Mostly CRC, when they go to work on site, the interview was taken by investigators only or their delegated person. And once they select the staff, it's their responsibility to train on what? GCP, protocol, and regulatory requirement. So all these things are responsibility of an investigator. Now there are certain responsibility more than this that I have divided into couple of sections, like before the study start, during the study start, and the end. So when the study has not started, you have to start your trial. So there are certain documentation that investigator is obliged to complete. First is he need to submit a CV, resume, and he has to sign a confidentiality agreement that he doesn't have any financial interest in this particular trial. His signatures are also needed on the protocol. How about if there is an amendment after some time, then again he need to sign the amendment as well. And consent form, he should ensure that ethics committee has approved the consent form. He also need to sign the financial agreement, need to ensure that ethics committee approval is there, and normal ranges of lab if there is some central lab, copy of clinical laboratory certification, financial disclosure information. So all these key elements he need to do document before the study start. Before study start means before they start recruiting patient, before they start recruiting patients, or you can say participants, anything, right? And how about during the trial? During the conduct of the trial, just remember, lot of data is collected. Data is collected, right? And if this data is not collected in a correct way, then your whole trial can be, compromised. So then who is working at a site? Who is leading at site? Investigator is leading a site. So it's his responsibility to document the data in a correct form. These are few examples. That investigator must keep the source document, example patient record, when patient came to visit the site, what are their vitals, who has done the physical checkup, if there was some lab test, who has performed that, what is the record of that test, or at what time and how it was done. Even in fact the smallest detail, like at what time blood sample was withdrawn, or any other biological sample was given. Laboratory reports, ECG, X-ray, these are examples. So this list can be very exhaustive. Any other medical record, reports, notes, hospital admissions, discharge, even doctor's notes. Patient identification list. So this is very unique thing. Patient identification list is always at a site. It never stored at a sponsor and CRO's site. So if someone is asking you what is the special document which is not available on a sponsor site or a CRO site but is available at site, so this is patient identification list. And not only that, copies of all study related documentation he need to store it. All right, further to this, in medical record, in particular they should contain notes on sufficient information on support of patient eligibility. Like if there is a medical record that they are maintaining, that medical record should be having minimum this much of information. Who made the decision? Sign and date, patient participation in the study, dates of visits, procedures and investigations done, observations, diagnosis, medication taken, adverse event, completion and withdrawal from study. So medical record should oblige these few fundamentals. It's not like it's an incomplete document and they are storing it. They need to ensure that this document is complete. And okay, we have studied like before the start what investigator need to store, and during the study what investigator need to store. How about after the study? Is his responsibility over? Not yet. So what sponsor need from investigator? Final drug accountability. What does this mean, final drug accountability? If initially they started with 500 vials, right, just example, and they have used only 450, these many given to the patients, where are the rest 50? They need to give a sum of everything. So that is known as a drug accountability. All used and unused supplies of medication they may have to return, or they have to show the destruction certificate of those medication. But this is done based on what is the communication between sponsor and investigator. All required documents are completed. Update financial disclosure. If there is any, because they signed at the beginning of the trial, now they need to update it. Little more to this is now even the trial is over, responsibility of investigators are still going on. That as per I said GCP, in clinical trials you need to archive the study record for some time. So that's also investigator has to ensure that what are their arrangement. This is discussed in advance, like how they will be archiving the study material. As per ICGCP, they are supposed to keep the records for 2 years following the last marketing authorization in any country. So therefore investigator can't destroy any record any record without the permission of a sponsor. This is only here it is written a 2 year from the last market authorization in any country. However, there are countries, there are situations that records are even kept for 15 to 20 years, like especially if we are taking your example of Europe, or like if I am speaking from Indian regulation, their record is supposed to keep kept for 5 years. So this can vary, but this is all done as per the written agreement between the sponsor. So this is all about the responsibilities of investigator. So till now what we have covered, that what are the key responsibility of the investigator, that they are at the site, they are the owner of a site. Anything which is happening at site is a responsibility of investigator. They are the in charge, and sponsor is in charge of overall trial. So if this is bigger circle is sponsor, then here the internal circle, which is a site, can be a investigator. Please leave a comment in our comment section that what else topic you want us to be covered. If you like this session, I will request you to like it. Now coming to IRB and IC, so there sometimes gets confusion that what is IRB or ethics committee. So IRB is independent body of a medical, scientific and non-medical, non-scientific member. So it is always mixed. So they will be having scientific member, they will be having non-scientific member. You can also lay person. Ask any person from a society, right, who is not having a medical background. That person can be lawyer, but not a scientist or a doctor. So ethics committee is also same, but it is, why sometime it is called IRB or EC. In our country is more EC, is a non-US country. In US it is called IRB. So the roles and responsibilities are same, right? What is their role? To approve or to give a favorable opinion, right? This favorable opinion can be come up with some of the questions as well. So if we are going to see what are the main responsibilities of ethics committee, the very first responsibility is to safeguard the right, safety and well-being of the subject. They are the one who are looking on the trial from ethical perspective. Their main job is this. So we have seen a sponsor, who is, or they are looking from ethics plus scientific point of view also, right? But they are here to safeguard the rights and well-being of the subject. They review the trial before they start ongoing, right? It's their continuation job. They obtain documentation, anything which is happening in the trial, they request for the document, they give their opinion. They can send a queries also, like their query can be why 3 ml blood is being taken, that when they read the protocol, right? IRB EC review a relevant ethical aspect, as I have highlighted. Investigator's responsibility, and how much payment you are doing to a subject. Like if in our country, if I am speaking about in India, you are paying 500 per visit to a patient, saying that we are compensating for your daily wage loss. So then ethics committee will review it. If they were approving it, then only you will be able to give it, and they will be seeing it like, is it reference to some government regulation, like in our country this is aligned to Ministry of Labor, what they are saying that per day charges should be like in a Delhi, right? Now how they should work, is there any, because we are saying for investigator this is how they should be working, for a sponsor this is how they should be working. Then how should is there any process by which IRB should be working? Yes, they should be have written SOPs. This is when sponsor or any auditor or inspector, they can ask their SOPs, like SOP is nothing. What is SOPs? how they will be working. That is SOP, standard operating procedure, how they will work. Yeah. There should be certification that they should be complying with GCP. Basically, they are trained on GCP. Even new drug rule says that if if ethics committee is not trained on GCP, their membership can be revoked. Then ethics committee, they should maintain a membership list. Minimum 5 members are required. So who all are their member? If someone has left, there should be a documentation for that. If someone newly joined, there should be documentation for that. Written procedure, as I have covered, SOPs. When they meet, when there is some meeting, they need to maintain a minutes of the meeting, like what was discussed and what decision was taken, because otherwise there is no record, like they will be saying no, we didn't discuss this. So in order to avoid that situation, there should be minutes of the meeting, and they have to record all the activities, like even for the meeting when it happened, they need to record all the minutes of the meeting. And in a written procedure, they should in detail out what is the composition and qualification of the member, because that is how they will be someone will come to know they are scientific and non-scientific people. Even the smallest thing is ensured, like equal, there is a participation from all the sex, like male and female should be equally representing, right? They should schedule and notification and conduct of the meeting. There should be, formalized way of telling, like, okay, on this date we will be meeting. Conduct of clinical trial including frequency, like when they will be meeting. Investigator obligations regarding study, entry, protocol changes and deviation. This should all be included in their written procedure. What they should document, we are saying in the very first slide on IRV, we have studied that they'd have to document everything. What they should be document, if I wanted to share a bit of a list with you all: trial protocol and amendments, written informed consent forms, written information, any information, maybe there is advertisements for the patient, leaflets prepared for the subject, maybe patient diary, any written information which is meant for the subject should be reviewed and record is maintained by the IRB. Investigator brochure, available safety information on the IMP, right? Investigators current CV, advertisement copies if any, and information on the payment and the compensation. That compensation, suppose there is an SAE, how the site and sponsor has handled that particular SAE, is there any compensation made, all should be documented with the ethics committee. So this is the last slide on the ethics committee. So in this session we have covered what are the roles and responsibility of investigator, before the trial, during the trial and at the end. And additionally, we have covered what ethics committee is, what is their role and responsibility. So in our coming session, we will be covering informed consent form, then that will conclude our GCP training. Thank you so much.